challenge is with us as black people, we have been made docile and weak, especially as black men, that we leave protection up to our former slave masters. That was by design, to break the female's view of the black man as a natural protector for her. Like breaking horses. So that her protector is no longer the man that come from her womb, but now it's a man who put her man in the tomb, mentally and physically. That's a hell of a thing when you take the one that murdered your children and make him also your protector and provider. And by the way, brother, police. The police, that language, the police was originated on the plantation. They were white men that were hired to go catch runaway slaves. They were designed to keep the slave structure in place and keep the rebellious ones taught a lesson or dead, to teach a lesson to the others. Don't even think about it. And today you see that. It takes a mob of police to subdue one black man. But they come and they make a spectacle of it. They park all over the street any kind of way and put the lights on blaring. And so the whole neighborhood, see, Negro, if you rise up, this is what we're going to do to you. Don't even think about protecting your women and girls. Mr. Farrakhan said that that young girl in Florida who was being accosted by that police officer, he put his knee on her neck. There's a little girl in a bathing suit. Michael Muhammed. I'm the Cleveland representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan here in the city of Cleveland at Mosque number 18. As far as my coming into the nation, I joined the Nation of Islam in February of 2004 out of the city of Detroit. I was born and raised in Canada, came across the teachings in Canada, was instantly attracted by the truth and wanted to learn more of it. So I began a journey the opposite way of the Underground Railroad. So my ancestors got up and left out of the Underground Railroad from America to go to Canada, but I turned around and went back to come back for the truth. Why the nation puts so much emphasis on protecting their own community? Because that's the natural thing to do. Every creature, whether it's microscopic or on a level that we could see with our eyes, protects itself. It has a method of protection. Our body has a method of protection. It's called skin. It keeps everything protected on the inside. Our bone structure, it's all set up to protect form and protect the outer layers. So it's only natural that we would protect ourselves. This is natural. Look at ants. They have a form of protecting themselves. Bees. Every organism has a way of, even a rabbit has a way of protecting itself. Speed, agility, ears to hear, always ready to protect itself and its family. So this is natural. The challenge is with us as black people, we have been made docile and weak, especially as black men, that we leave protection up to our former slaves. You don't ever see an ant bite you and say, hey, what'd you do that for? Oh, I need you to come protect my house. No creature come to you to ask for protection, but we do it. We go, especially as black people, we have been made defenseless. This is a phenomenon that has occurred, and it occurred at a little over 400 years ago, directly enslaving us and removing our desire even to protect ourselves from enemies. You look at China, they have a military, they have a means of protecting themselves. India does, Iran does, see? Canada does, Mexico does. All these nations have a means of protecting themselves. See, we are the nation of Islam. And we believe that that man that you find in scriptures called the Son of Man, who would come as it is in Matthew 24, verse 27, I believe, this man would come from the east unto the west. This Son of Man would come and he would find a people that are in the state or condition of a carcass. And he would see those people and begin a process of rebuilding and resurrecting those people to make them not the bottom, keep them on the bottom, but put them on the top of civilization. So he's coming to make a nation out of us. He's keeping his word as it was in scripture. He would do this for people who were enslaved for over 400 years. This is mentioned many times in the Bible. Well, if you're going to make us a nation, then you're going to also teach us the science of warfare and how to protect ourselves. We were not taught the science of business, Minister Farrakhan teaches us. We were not taught the science of mating, and we were not taught the science of warfare. Why would our enemy teach us these things? That makes us then he's only empowering his enemy. Christianity, as it's been fed to us, force-fed to us, was used as a tool of enslavement for our people in their minds. So it was never set up to show us or teach us how to take care of ourselves. In fact, it kept us mentally dependent on another people to take care of us and look up to them, and that we were the problem, we are the curse, therefore we are bad, therefore we're not worth anything. But those people are, meaning the Caucasian, they're valuable, they're the protector, they're the provider. We were taught that through Christianity. And listen to what the former owner of LA Clippers, how he responded to questions about his dealing with his team. He said, oh, I give them homes, I give them money, I give them cars, I give them all of this, I give them, see? He speaks like a provider and a protector for his slaves. And so that kind of relationship, master-slave, has been in effect since we've been here in America for over 400 years. This is war. They kill the black man and keep the black woman. And then she produces his babies with his mind in those children. So now the ministers say we grow up as black white people. What does that mean? Then that means we're protecting the white power structure, including the police. We go to them for protection. So as far as we're not set up as a religion. We're set up as a nation. And every nation has a means of protecting it. Now our women don't look to us for protection no more. So our women call 911, or they go to the man, or they go downtown to seek justice and response to their problems. They don't call on the black man no more. It used to be. And we protect, and by the way, we're not driven by money to do it, we're driven out of love. You protect what you love. And the sad thing is, we've been fed such a dose of self-hatred, we don't even care anymore. It doesn't bother us to see little girls walking down the street with yoga pants on. It doesn't bother us anymore to see young sisters with their breasts hanging out and doing crazy things and putting themselves out there to be vulnerable. We're not upset enough when we find out that our young girls are being accosted and raped and molested by the police. Do you know, dear brother, that sister that was shot in that 137 shots incident, Melissa Williams, her family member said to us, now we haven't substantiated it, but he said to us that she had been raped at the homeless center where she was at by a member of the police force. One of the officers of the 16 or so that was involved in the shooting. So was it that they were killing them because of the backfiring of the car and the chase, or was it an execution? I'm just asking a question. Just asking a question. So you can't charge a person with rape if you're dead. You have no more accuser. And I'm sure if we polled the black women in the community, girls and women, have you ever had this kind of incident? And isn't it interesting, they had an incident in Oklahoma where this officer was convicted of raping and molesting many black women. So, but that looks to us as black men, we're not protecting our women. Why? Because we have not been taught how to love them and their true value, which the minister does. And after you hear him teach that, you begin to listen to your conscience now that's awake. See, the problem is the black woman today has not seen the black man in his natural state, in his God-like state, functioning with the characteristics of God and unequivocally executing those characteristics. But when we do, then she will naturally desire our protection and provision. And she really does. And when we do it anyway, whether she accepts it or not, we be our natural self, our righteous self, she can't help, even in her ignorance, she can't help but respect what you're trying to do. Anywhere the brothers go, the FOI go to protect, I've not heard a sister say, oh, leave me alone, don't protect me. I've never seen that, ever. And that's, I've been in a nation now since '04, so 22 years. I've never been in any event where we've secured the public and the sisters say, don't give me no more respect. You give me too much respect. Don't respect me. Don't protect me. Don't walk me to my car. Don't open my door for me. Don't watch my back for me. I've never heard a sister say that. If anything, they look for us to do it. So they just haven't seen the example until now. And that's why sisters fall in love with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because they know that's a man who won't back down to the enemy. And that's a man who's mastered his weakness or the imperfections in him that would get in the way of him exercising the righteousness that is in us as original people, to care for our own, protect our own. This goes beyond just little police business. And security, by the way, it's referred to as the state of being free from danger or threat. Well, for 460 years, we've never been secure then, because we've always been under the threat of danger and attack. And it also means a private police force that guards a building, a campus, or a park. Notice it never said a people. And that's a definition straight off of Google. It never said a people. A building, campus, and park. Those are all places that other people make money. Minister Farrakhan's message in Self-Improvement, a Basis for Community Development, is what good is it to have buildings when you don't build the people? He's about building the human being, rebuilding the human being, so the human being goes out and rebuilds society righteously, under the will of God, and not some bloodsucker of the poor who wants to just get rich off of the ignorance of others and using them as a tool and a slave so they can make all kinds of money and live in Pepper Pike and Beechwood, while the ones who are used and abused are in county jail, the Injustice Center, or living off scraps and food stamp lines and food bank lines. Our problem is we think security comes from a gun. So instead of God, we don't trust God, we trust a bullet. And the Honorable Elijah taught that even the gun, in words, if you put your finger on the trigger and try to pull it, if it's not God's will that that gun go off, there has been people that I have heard where they had a gun to their head and the person pulled the trigger and it didn't go. The gun jammed. See, because between that finger and that trigger is God. God controls atoms. The bullet is made of atoms. The gun is made of atoms. These are able to be manipulated. What do you mean? How do you make a bar of soap? You take the atoms that make up detergent and you make the atoms that make up the fragrance and you put it all together. You're just manipulating atoms and putting them into a form that you want it to be. So it can be manipulated. We've been giving our trust to those who mean no good for us.